This is a Bigfoot skull based on the memory recollection and a drawing.
It looks like a large red heat signature hiding behind a tree. This is honestly the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Dr. Mireya Mayor, a renowned explorer from Expedition Bigfoot, expressed concerns about the potential dangers of searching for Bigfoot. Unfortunately, her warnings went unheeded. What exactly happened after Dr. Mayor's warnings, and how did it impact the team's search for the elusive creature? Join us to find out. The mystery in the woods. In order to gain a real grasp on the mystery that has confused people for many years, we need to delve into the tale of Bigfoot, a mysterious being believed to wander the remote woods of North America. The myth of Bigfoot is one that has endured over time, transmitted through word of mouth and stoked by accounts of encounters that are both alarming and captivating. Bigfoot is commonly depicted as a tall and robust being that moves upright similar to a human, but is entirely covered in dense, dark fur from head to toe. Witnesses often mention the creature's color as either black, dark brown, or occasionally reddish-brown. Numerous accounts suggest that Bigfoot's height falls somewhere between 6 to 9 feet, although there are tales of massive creatures towering up to 15 feet. Its broad shoulders, long arms, and imposing presence are known to evoke feelings of power and unease in those who encounter it. Some individuals even perceive Bigfoot as being more human-like than ape-like, particularly when they catch a glimpse of its face, a detail that intensifies the fear associated with such sightings. During the early 1970s, there were reports emerging from Oregon about sightings of a tall, mysterious figure in the forest close to the Dalles. According to one witness, he had the being in his sights through his rifle scope, but could not muster the courage to pull the trigger as it appeared too human-like to pose any threat. Other individuals who claim to have seen Bigfoot mentioned similar characteristics such as elongated arms, broad shoulders, and a body with a barely noticeable neck. Despite these sightings, skeptics frequently claim that a number of these encounters can be easily explained as bears standing upright. Reports of glowing eyes seen at night add an extra layer of mystery to the situation. According to some accounts, Bigfoot's eyes emit a colored glow when observed in the darkness. Despite this, specialists point out that humans and other recognized great apes do not possess eyes that emit light, indicating that the source of these luminous orbs may actually be creatures such as raccoons, owls, or opossums perched in trees. Nonetheless, individuals who claim to have witnessed these glowing eyes remain adamant that they were positioned too high above the ground to be attributed to smaller animals. Michael Rugg, the owner of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum, once stated that he detected the creature's odor, which he likened to a combination of decay, dirt, and trash, even worse than that of a skunk. According to believers, the unforgettable stench of Bigfoot is a prominent indicator of its existence and can linger for a long time after it vanishes into the forest. The term Bigfoot originates from the massive footprints discovered in wooded areas and muddy trails. Certain prints have been reported to measure up to 24 inches in length and 8 inches in width. Casts of these prints have been created, but some display claw marks, suggesting they belong to bears, rather than an unidentified species. Nevertheless, there are tracks that seem distinct, overly large, and resembling humans, unlike any known creature. The concept of a feral humanoid is not limited to a single society. Researchers and scholars have discovered that almost every region has a variation of a wild man. Various societies share tales of enormous, hairy entities residing in secluded areas, such as forests or mountains. Every language has a distinct designation for this entity, often denoting a hairy man or a savage individual. The narratives depict giants who occasionally assisted humans, while also causing fear. For centuries in Europe, stories about the wild inhabitants of the forest were shared. These creatures were depicted as hair-covered naked beings, except for some parts of their face, hands, and feet. Certain individuals were believed to be reclusive humans who had abandoned civilization, while others were seen as peculiar, humanoid monsters. As European colonizers arrived in North America, they carried these myths with them, only to discover that the indigenous population already had their own versions of these tales. In various Native American communities, there were ancient accounts of hairy creatures dwelling in the woods before the term Bigfoot was coined. These legends were frequently shared as moral teachings, particularly aimed at young individuals. Tribes in the Pacific Northwest recounted stories of elusive beings that resided in remote areas, possessing great strength, but preferring to avoid human contact. A fascinating finding at the Tule River Indian Reservation brings new intrigue to the mystery. At a location called Painted Rock, ancient carvings, also known as petroglyphs, depict figures that some interpret as Bigfoot. These carvings, created by the Yokut tribe, are estimated to be approximately a millennium old. Among them is a prominent figure referred to as Hairy Man. The Yokuts shared stories of this entity being part of a collective known as the Family, beings that resided in the wild and avoided contact with humans. The Tulare County Board of Education, in 1975, characterized the creature known as Hairy Man as a massive figure draped in lengthy, unkempt hair, displaying qualities of both a human and an animal. This being was believed to serve as a guardian, consuming animals that posed a threat to humans. Within the community, parents would caution their children against venturing near the river after dark for fear of a possible encounter with this mythical entity. But what was the true history behind the Bigfoot theory, and why was Dr. Mireya hell-bent on finding a Bigfoot? Stay with us. When Bigfoot was first discovered, Bigfoot's legend was not invented by modern technology or researchers. Instead, it originated from a sense of unease, intrigue, and hushed conversations in remote wooded areas. Prior to becoming an international phenomenon, tales of enormous furry creatures meandering through wildernesses and peaks were already being shared among locals. Nevertheless, the initial significant occurrence that thrust Bigfoot into the limelight occurred in the early 1900s, within a tranquil, rough edge of the northwestern United States. In the summer of 1924, the Oregonian published a disturbing account about a gang of gold miners who insisted they were assaulted by creatures they dubbed as ape men in the vicinity of Mount St. Helens in Washington. The miners, hardened and seasoned, were staying in a modest log cabin near a steep ravine. As per their tale, they had been on an expedition when they spotted peculiar beings observing them from the surrounding foliage. Fred Beck, one of the individuals, asserted that he shot his gun and hit one of the beings. The tranquility of the mountain was shattered that evening. The men recounted that the beings came back, hurling massive rocks at the cabin, rattling its walls, and hitting the roof with force. The sound was unbearable. There was a moment when the roof broke, leading to one of the men losing consciousness. Filled with fear, the group stayed put until morning and then ran away from the location as swiftly as possible. When their tale was shared, it quickly caught on. The residents referred to the mysterious assailants as ape-like creatures or demonic beings of the mountains. Investigators from the U.S. Forest Service were dispatched to the location. However, upon their arrival, they discovered a lack of tangible proof. There were no tracks, no strands of hair, and no traces of the alleged confrontation. The findings were discreetly disregarded as a fabricated story or a misinterpretation. The impact of the story was lasting, giving rise to the nickname Ape Canyon and solidifying its place as a prominent location in Bigfoot lore. It sparked curiosity and fascination, setting the stage for the development of a major mystery in American mythology. Over 3 decades later, a new incident would re-emerge Bigfoot from the realm of myth to the forefront of public attention. In the year 1958, a gentleman by the name of Jerry Crew, who operated a bulldozer for a timber company in Humboldt County, California, stumbled upon a remarkable find. Buried within the mucky earth of the Six Rivers National Forest, he came across a trail of massive footprints. Each imprint measured around 16 inches in length and resembled the shape of a human foot. They were immense, profound, and flawlessly in its seat. Designed impossible to overlook, Crew presented the prints to his colleagues, and to his amazement, a few of them mentioned they had encountered comparable tracks previously. A number of individuals even shared anecdotes about bulky machinery being relocated during the night, like a 400-pound oil drum that had been moved without any logical reason. The employees started discussing among themselves, speculating if a mysterious creature could be responsible. They even coined a nickname for it, Bigfoot. Initially, Crew suspected that it could be a practical joke. However, as additional tracks emerged, he opted to reach out to a journalist named Andrew Genzoli from the local newspaper, the Humboldt Times. Genzoli visited the site to witness the tracks personally. He paid attention to the accounts provided by the workers, captured images, and penned an article detailing the mysterious tracks. The newspaper printed Crew's picture holding one of the plaster casts he had created of the footprint on October 6, 1958. The headline of the article sparked the curiosity of readers nationwide. In a matter of days, the news traveled well beyond the borders of California. From the East Coast to the West Coast, newspapers carried the story. Journalists reached out to gather information on the mysterious creature reportedly wandering the forests. As a result, Bigfoot quickly became a widely recognized term among the public. Since that point in time, the myth has expanded. Residents all over the United States started asserting that they had observed gigantic, shaggy beings strolling on their hind legs. As per Live Science, there have been over 10,000 alleged sightings in the contiguous United States throughout the passing years. Around 1/3 of these reports originate from the Pacific Northwest region, particularly in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. These areas are abundant in dense woodlands and deep ravines, providing ideal hiding spots for such a creature. Washington State holds the top spot with over 2,000 documented sightings, followed by California with more than 1,600. Pennsylvania, New York, Oregon, and Texas also have their fair share of unexplained experiences. Witness accounts vary from spotting the creature on roads at night to hearing unusual noises, finding large footprints, or hearing eerie sounds of wood hitting trees from afar. The discussion regarding Bigfoot's existence peaked in the 1970s. This mysterious creature had become an emblem of intrigue within American society. A variety of individuals, including scientists, adventurers, and regular citizens, participated in the quest to find Bigfoot, while some skeptics brushed off the concept as mere fiction or deception. Nevertheless, even the skeptics couldn't ignore the captivating nature of the legend. Numerous individuals who allege to have come across Bigfoot depict its actions as untamed and clever. A few assert it hurls stones as a caution or a means to establish boundaries. Several mention hearing loud taps on trees, indications that certain individuals speculate might be a method of interaction among the beings. In isolated regions, peculiar tree formations have been discovered: shattered branches, contorted saplings, and petite trees organized in designs resembling teepees or refuges. Certain experts theorize that these formations may indicate the existence of Bigfoot. In one instance in Washington state, members of the Olympic Project purportedly discovered a collection of makeshift nests constructed out of twigs and foliage. Upon examination, specialists suggested that the nests bore a resemblance to those crafted by primates, yet there was no definitive answer as to their origin. Whispers in the wild. Throughout history, numerous individuals have reported encountering the mysterious entity referred to as Bigfoot. Each account, originating from various regions across the United States, contributes to the complexity of the folklore. Regardless of their authenticity, these alleged sightings have evoked emotion, ignited discussions, and perpetuated the mystery surrounding Bigfoot. One of the initial modern encounters occurred in the quiet town of Fouke, Arkansas in 1971. A terrified family reported that a massive, hairy being extended its arm through their window on a dark night, surprising a woman indoors. The tale quickly spread throughout the town, causing a wave of panic. Residents started arming themselves, securing their homes, and keeping a wary eye on the surrounding woods. This incident served as the inspiration for a well-known horror film called The Legend of Boggy Creek, which brought nationwide exposure to Fouke. Despite later being debunked as a fabrication, the account left a lingering sense of mystery and dread in its wake. In the year 1974, the New York Times published a peculiar story recounted by a Canadian prospector named Albert Ostman. According to Ostman, in 1924, he was allegedly abducted by a group of Bigfoot creatures and kept captive for 6 days before managing to flee. Although deemed incredulous by some, the tale intrigued the masses, highlighting the enduring fascination with the legend of Bigfoot. During the 1980s and 1990s, there was an increase in reported sightings. One of the most controversial incidents occurred in 1994 when Paul Freeman, a former ranger with the U.S. Forest Service and a prominent Bigfoot investigator, allegedly filmed the creature in Oregon's Blue Mountains. The video captured a dark figure moving through the woods, sparking debate among viewers. While some viewed it as conclusive evidence, others dismissed it as a hoax or a person in disguise. To this day, the footage, known as the Freeman footage, remains a topic of discussion and analysis among experts and enthusiasts. In 1996, a video featuring a mysterious creature gained attention. Lori Pate captured footage while camping near the Washington state-Canada border. The footage, known as the Memorial Day clip, was widely featured in documentaries. Despite researchers claiming it was probably a person in a gorilla costume, the ambiguous nature of the video continued to intrigue viewers. More than 2 decades later, in 2017, the story took an unexpected turn. In the mountains of San Bernardino, California, a woman named Claudia Ackley reported a close encounter with a creature she believed to be Bigfoot. She described it as a large, hairy, human-like figure. Convinced of the reality of her sighting, she took legal action against the California Department of Fish and Wildlife for their refusal to acknowledge the existence of Bigfoot. Despite officials' assertion that she had only seen a bear, Claudia remained steadfast in her belief until her death in 2023. She even founded an online support group for individuals who claim to have experienced trauma from similar encounters. In October 2023, a new surge of interest arose when Shannon Parker shared a video online showcasing a mysterious, shadowy figure strolling through the hills as she rode a train in Colorado. The video quickly gained popularity, spreading like wildfire across various social media platforms and news channels internationally. While some people believed the footage to be authentic, others dismissed it as a clever hoax. Numerous doubters speculated that it may have been a ploy by a nearby camper van company for promotion, although the company refuted any involvement. Every reported sighting, whether deemed credible or debunked, contributes to the mystery surrounding Bigfoot. While some view them as errors, others perceive them as frauds, and a minority consider them as genuine interactions with an unfamiliar entity. What is undisputable is that individuals continue to have ongoing experiences with an unidentified presence. If it was not real, why did the FBI look into it? What were they trying to hide? Stay with us. When the FBI tried to end the Bigfoot belief, during the mid-1970s, there was a surge in interest surrounding the mystery of Bigfoot. Speculation ran rampant across the United States regarding enormous footprints, spooky noises in the forest, and towering, elusive figures disappearing into the trees. Around this period, Peter Byrne, a renowned Bigfoot investigator and the head of the Bigfoot Information Center in Oregon, embarked on a quest to delve deeper into the mystery. His aim was to seek clarification not through hearsay or folklore, but through scientific means. And he believed the most credible scientific institution to turn to was the FBI. Byrne mailed the FBI a tiny package with around 15 strands of hair attached to a minuscule piece of skin. The origin of the sample was unknown to his team, so he sought assistance from the Bureau. Additionally, he inquired about the FBI's experience in analyzing evidence connected to Bigfoot, wondering if the elusive creature had ever piqued their interest. During that period, there was a widespread obsession with Bigfoot in popular culture. The creature was appearing in various forms of media such as movies, magazines, and TV shows. The well-known Patterson-Gimlin film, filmed in 1967, had convinced many that Bigfoot actually existed worldwide. Despite doubts from skeptics who believed the film was staged with a person in a costume, Byrne firmly believed that the creature caught on camera was authentic. J. Cochran Jr., the assistant director of the FBI's Scientific and Technical Services Division, was the one who finally received the letter. In his response, Cochran mentioned that the FBI typically focused on evidence related to criminal investigations. Despite this, the FBI decided to analyze the unknown hairs sent by Byrne out of scientific interest. Weeks later, the outcomes were delivered, crushing the dreams of those who believed in Bigfoot. The FBI determined that the hair did not belong to an unfamiliar species, but rather to a deer. Cochran handed back the samples to Byrne along with the results. The official position of the government was resolute. There was no evidence supporting the existence of Bigfoot. However, the narrative did not conclude at that point. Many years later, in the year 2019, the FBI decided to share its previously confidential Bigfoot file with the general public. The records unveiled all correspondence, test specifics, and the straightforward finding that the hair was from a deer. Surprisingly, instead of putting an end to the myth, this revelation only revitalized it. Certain individuals who believed in the existence of the creature used the FBI's analysis of the hair as evidence supporting their claim. They suggested that the government's decision to investigate hinted at the possibility that the legend had some truth to it. In reality, the situation was more straightforward. The FBI had only assisted a curious researcher with his study. There were no clandestine operations or confidential documents involved, just a standard scientific examination. Byrne, who was 93 years old when the file was made public, appeared uncertain when questioned about it, expressing doubt as to whether he had actually received the FBI's reply. He claimed ignorance of the fact that the hair had been confirmed to be from a deer. It remains a mystery whether he had simply forgotten or deliberately chosen not to accept this information. Now, what did Dr. Mireya warn us about? Let's find out. The fearless explorer. Throughout her life, Dr. Mireya Mayor has demonstrated the harmonious balance between bravery and intellect. Dubbed the equivalent of a female Indiana Jones, she has delved into some of the most isolated regions on Earth, unraveling mysteries that most can only imagine. Her experiences encompass daring escapades, groundbreaking scientific discoveries, and a steadfast resilience. Mireya became a part of the Travel Channel documentary series Expedition Bigfoot in the year 2019. Accompanied by a team of wildlife experts, she embarked on a bold 3-week expedition into the dense woods of the Pacific Northwest. The main objective was clear and remarkable: to uncover proof of the mythical being called Bigfoot. The documentary made its debut in January of 2020, and by 2025, it had already aired its 6th season. Audiences globally were not only intrigued by the mysterious search, but also by Mireya's courage and charisma on screen. Apart from being known on television, Mireya is a successful scientist. With a PhD in anthropology, she was part of the team that uncovered a previously unknown lemur species in Madagascar, putting her in the ranks of the most renowned field researchers globally. Having authored scientific publications, counseled international decision-makers, and featured in National Geographic films, she motivates aspiring scientists, particularly women, to pursue their passions and venture into uncharted territories through her efforts. In a standout installment of Expedition Bigfoot named Signs of Danger, the team deliberated on employing Mireya as a lure for Bigfoot. Myths indicated that Bigfoot had a particular attraction to women and, in certain stories, had reportedly abducted them. It was a daring and hazardous strategy, but Mireya was fully aware of the risks involved. Her composed and brave demeanor served as a reminder to all of her dual roles as a scientist and a fearless adventurer who was undaunted by uncharted territory. Even though Mireya's career is full of excitement, her personal life is just as motivating. She is in a marriage with Phil Fairclough, a well-known executive producer recognized for his collaborations with National Geographic, Discovery, and Animal Planet. Both Mireya and Phil share a passion for documentary filmmaking, exploration, and storytelling, making them a unique and inspiring couple, united by their shared curiosity, empathy, and imagination. Their relationship combines elements of romance and utility. Phil comprehends the demanding nature of Mireya's profession, including the extended work hours, unexpected trips, and emotional hurdles. Through his backing, he is able to follow her scientific interests while also managing her personal life effectively. They both hold a strong reverence for the environment and advocate for leveraging narratives to drive transformation. Mireya manages a busy schedule while also being the loving mother of 6 kids, with 5 from a previous marriage and 1 with Phil. Her household is filled with vibrant energy, joy, and affection. Balancing motherhood with a career that involves traveling to remote jungles and risky places presents its challenges, but Mireya faces them head-on without letting them deter her. She is a firm believer that pursuing one's true calling serves as a valuable lesson for her children, teaching them about bravery, perseverance, and self-confidence. Her union with Phil symbolizes more than just affection, but rejuvenation. Following the end of her previous marriage, Mireya grappled with raising 5 children while also maintaining her worldwide responsibilities. Encountering Phil provided her with serenity, collaboration, and a common objective. They have jointly established a lifestyle centered on excitement and family, emphasizing both scientific pursuits and emotional connections. Despite being well known for her accomplishments, Mireya continues to maintain a modest and discreet persona. She only provides brief insights into her personal life occasionally, while always keeping in mind what is most important to her. Her main goal is centered around her purpose: to investigate, uncover, and motivate.